Hello and welcome to my kitchen. For lack of a better area to film, this is my beautiful backdrop. Luckily, it's a pretty cute kitchen. Shout out to my mom. Okay, so today's video is on the Gene Key 17 with the shadow of opinion, the gift of farsightedness, and the city of omniscience, which I love that word, omniscience. And today is the Libra full moon. And so it felt like a really good time to talk about this key because I associate this gene key with the goddess, the Egyptian goddess Mat, who is all about fairness and justice, and she holds the scales. It's definitely, for me, Libra energy, even though this actual gene key is in the fire sign Aries and is associated with the fire sign Aries. I just feel like it has kind of like this Libra-esque vibe to it. So I associate it with the goddess Mat. I've been kind of having some fun playing around with associating herbs to the keys. And so this key I would associate blue lotus with. And yeah, so this key is really interesting, and I feel like it's pretty significant to my life because it is the key that is on my Saturn, on my conscious side. When looking at human design, the personality and the design side, I have the 17 on my personality side in my Saturn. So I have this very disciplinary planet in this key, in this 17. And yeah, it's been interesting to learn about this energy and just to like see how it comes through. And with my experience, I definitely have always been someone who would like to think that I'm not opinionated, but I actually, after like really contemplating this key and sitting with it, I can see like, damn, I'm really freaking opinionated. And it's interesting because it's like my ego has convinced me that it's okay that I'm super opinionated, because it's like, you're opinionated about the things that matter. Like, you see things that are causing chaos and you have an opinion about it, which, you know, there is like, one can argue that that is kind of like associated with the gift of farsightedness, which is like, you those with this key have the ability to see the whole picture, and like, which is very right brain, but then they can also see like all the little individual parts, which is more left brain. And in the gift, when you do have an opinion, if you do have an opinion, it's only to uphold integrity and to bring integrity for the greater good of the whole. But in the shadow, what happens, and this I see happens in my life a lot, and has happened in my life a lot, is that you get stuck on one opinion or like one way of thinking, and you close your mind to seeing any other viewpoints or any other sides. And you just become so focused on your own viewpoint that, you know, you lose sight of the bigger picture. You forget that your logic is really limited and that there's more to everything than what meets the eye. And then when you actually start opening up this third eye, that's when you really start to see reality for what it is, which is this ultimate truth of non-duality and oneness and unity. And so, yeah, in the shadow states, we close our minds. We become really closed-minded and either really judgmental towards ourselves or really judgmental outwardly and like towards others. And we become really opinionated and we stick to our opinions, and we're not able to see the bigger picture, or we're not able to take in other perspectives. Like, we just hold so firmly and so fixed on our own perspective that we don't get to see other perspectives. We don't get to expand our awareness. We don't get to expand our consciousness. And another part of the shadow is really expressing our opinions when they weren't asked, and sharing our opinions or placing our opinions on others when they weren't invited. And so that's where I've really recognized the shadow within myself, is that sometimes I feel like I have an opinion on something, and instead of being invited to share it, or it being asked for, or instead of me even potentially asking if it's okay that I share my opinion, I just blurt it out. And that's caused a lot of issues in my life where that's backlashed and my opinion was not met with grace or gratitude, like what I had hoped it would be. So yeah, and then we move into this gift of farsightedness, which is really all about being able to see the bigger picture in the grand scheme of life. And that's why I really think that Mott is such a good goddess archetype for this key. And like, that's why I think the scales are a really good symbol for this key, because that involves both the feminine and the masculine energies. And it involves really merging the right brain and the left brain. And like I had mentioned before, and Richard Rudd mentions this in the Gene Keys book under this key, is that the right brain only sees the whole. It doesn't see all of the little parts and the little details. And the left brain only sees the little parts and the little details. So when you actually merge these two together, now you're getting like a complete picture of life and of reality. And when you're viewing life through this lens, your awareness is really expanding, and you realize that what you thought you knew, like what your left brain, logical brain thought it knew, was only a tiny, tiny little piece of this grand puzzle. And so farsightedness is really about being able to see two sides of any situation, no matter what that situation be, and you're able to, there's almost still like this aspect of forming an opinion that comes even with the gift, except the gift isn't rooted in like old patterns and habits and from a place of being closed-minded. Any opinion that comes out of the gift is coming out of a understanding of the larger picture and all of the details of the larger picture. And so when an opinion does come out of the gift, it's coming out of a place of love from the heart versus from the mind, the ego. So when it comes from the heart, any opinion that comes from the heart is going to be an opinion that serves the greater good, that serves the collective, that serves the whole. And so its programming partner is the 18, which I'm pretty sure that gift is integrity. So it's like, that's, if an opinion needs to be made, then it's being made for the sake of upholding integrity for the whole. And I think that is super beautiful, because nowadays we live in a society and really just a world that is so shrouded in duality and left versus right, like dark versus light, good and bad. And there's just so much division that when we're operating out of the gift and the city states of this key, we're actually really creating more and more unity, because we start to understand that like there is no need to be arguing over this or that. It's really more about like, okay, let's stop staying in these fixed opinions about either this side being better or this side being better, and let's actually focus on solutions that are going to make both of these sides happy and everything better and everything more peaceful and united and loving. And that's really what this omniscience is about, like this all-knowing that there at how do I want to put this? That absolute truth is, again, just oneness. That there is no separation. That everything really actually is perfection. And there's no need to constantly be going at people, going at each other, going at whatever with your opinion. Because at the end of the day, opinions don't even really matter. Opinions are just limited. And there's only one truth. And that truth is love. That truth is oneness. Wholeness, non-duality. And so when we really start to awaken our third eye and we start to expand our awareness, and we start to see the world a lot more clearly, and we start to perceive the world more clearly, we realize that it's futile to constantly be arguing our opinions and constantly be fighting to uphold our opinions, and that it actually makes a lot more sense to be flexible and to have a flexible mind and to be willing to remain open and to let go of focusing on right or wrong, and to instead move into the heart and focus on what's going to bring more love into the life of myself as well as the life of all beings here on this planet. And how do I stay focused upon that? How do I move in the direction towards that? How do I create more unity and more love and more of a beneficial world for all, instead of for my ego or for this side or just for this side? How can I create and move towards creating a world that allows for harmony and balance and peace and fairness and justice for all beings? Because at the end of the day, isn't that what we truly all want? All of us who are arguing our opinion, don't we do it because on a deep level, we just want to feel safe. We just want to feel loved. We want to feel seen and appreciated and heard and understood. And so instead of fighting for our opinion, perhaps we can start putting that energy and it really takes a lot of energy to like hold firm onto thoughts and onto opinions and habits and patterns. It really takes a lot of energy. If we could just unlock a little bit of that energy, release a little bit of that energy that we are keeping held so tightly on our opinions, and we can sort of let go of the opinions a little bit and shift the energy more towards love, towards creating understanding, forgiveness, compassion, being seen, but for all. And I think that maybe we all might just be a little bit more peaceful and a little bit more enlightened and happy. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on this key. Let me know what your thoughts are. It's definitely, it's fun to talk about. Not so easy to let go of opinion, but definitely worth it. And I had a real big aha moment just reading this key of like, oh damn, like I don't have to choose really any sides. Like I can just choose love. And that really feels way better and a lot more simple. And it doesn't cause my mind to like run this constant program or feel like I need to be in constant defense. Like it actually feels just so much better and less pressure. Like I feel less pressure when I'm like, oh, like I don't have to argue my opinion with anyone, to anyone. And I can just stand firm in love and integrity, and that's what I get to move towards. And so maybe you choose that for yourself too. I recommend reading the Gene Keys books, looking into the Gene Keys. It is such a profound system, and I'm just so grateful for Richard Rudd, for Ra of Human Design, and all the people who have made it possible for me to sit here and contemplate these keys. They've been changing my entire perspective on life. And yeah, So thank you for listening, and definitely let me know what you feel about the Gene Key 17.